How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here. So we had a pretty solid day in the stock market today. The S&P, the Dow, and the NASDAQ 100 all went up 0.3%. We had the Russell 2000 up 0.1%. So today we're going to break it down, take a look at some charts, talk about my thoughts on the markets, and of course, we're going to break down some stocks. So sit back, relax, take a sip of your coffee, go down below, get your $50 from M1 Finance. Literally, all you have to do is use my link, deposit $100, and we each get $50 guaranteed to invest with, and that takes you literally 5 minutes. Link down below, and you guys could check out my Patreon if you want all my real-time moves in the markets and a bunch of other exclusive perks. That is also linked right down below. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. So today, lo and behold, yet again, the S&P 500 hit all-time high. SPY ended up going up to $437.50. And bear with me, guys, if you hear ridiculous lightning outside, thunder, well, we're in the midst of a storm here in New Jersey, and if my lights cut out, you know why, but we're going to continue filming this video. Rain, sleet, hail, snow, whatever it takes, I'm getting this video out to you guys today. And it looks like that breakout that we talked about on Friday, and I mentioned how this is probably, and not for sure because nothing's guaranteed, but I mentioned on Friday, and I believe yesterday as well on Sunday, that the breakout we saw on Friday was a potential buy the breakout opportunity, meaning, look, we were at 434 resistance for a couple of days here on SPY. We ended up breaking that on Friday, hitting a little bit above 435, and I told you all, listen, hey, this could end up being a buy the breakout opportunity, meaning SPY could go 437, 440, maybe 445 on the higher end, and this morning we ended up seeing a bit of a pullback in the markets. SPY tested 434, the previous all-time high, which was resistance. We tested it this morning as support, and then boom, we ended up ripping off of that level, and again, we hit an all-time high later on in the markets at about 437.50. So as of now, it looks like the breakout zone, the buy the breakout, it ended up being right, and that's as of now. And sure, a lot of things can change tomorrow, the next day, and by the way, we get the CPI numbers tomorrow. They are being released at 8:30 a.m. on the East Coast, and I believe Powell's speaking on Wednesday. I could be wrong. Is it Wednesday? I'm pretty sure it was Wednesday. I was looking at the upcoming, events on the Fed's website. Let me know down below if I'm wrong or if he's speaking tomorrow as well. I'd love to know if I'm mistaken there, so feel free to correct me down below. But I'm pretty sure he is speaking on Wednesday, so that's going to be interesting to say the least. And we all know at this point, if inflation is worse than expected, the markets could take a hit. If it's better than expected, markets could continue this ridiculous rally that they've been on. And it seems like the markets, even when the May CPI number came out, I forget exactly what the price action was around there, but overall, we hit all-time highs today. So, I mean, we maybe dropped a little bit after the May CPI number, but ultimately, we rallied, and here we are. Again, we're at all-time highs. So, I'm going to be watching for that CPI number tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. on the East Coast. Again, that is when it's being released. And when it comes to QQQ, this hit an all-time high today as well. The all-time high was hit at $362.89. And by the looks of it, guys, we ended up hitting that at market open. We sold off, as you can see on the 5-day, 5-minute here, and the uptrend maintained despite the sell-off in the beginning of the day. You guys can see we went from 362.89 down to about 361. We coasted there for about a couple hours, and then we closed the day on an upswing. So I guess that is a very good close when it comes to the bulls. And I'm also noticing here, if I just clear the drawing set, and there goes the thunder again, guys. Geez, that's very loud. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it is storming out there. But anyway, you can see the ascending triangle forming on the 5-day, 5-minute. Clear resistance at about 362, 363, and we're uptrending into that resistance, making higher lows. So you guys know how this plays out, but if you don't, well, listen, the ascending triangle, if that pattern plays out, we end up breaking out of resistance and thus seeing a big pop. And who knows where this goes, whether it's 365, 370, I don't know, but all I do know is if we do break that resistance, there's going to be a short-term pop in QQQ, and we're likely going to see direction here in the morning. After that CPI number, we're going to see a lot of volatility. You guys know the CPI number, it doesn't really mention or it doesn't have all the data points out there. It's really just a basket of consumer goods. It excludes investment prices from stocks, real estate, rent too. So it excludes a lot of things, but overall, we're going to see how that ends up affecting the markets, and I'm excited for that number release, and I'm going to be up super early tomorrow. I'm probably going to make a video. I'm definitely going to cover it on my Patreon, but maybe I'll make a video for the YouTube channel as well. So what are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to know as always, and if you guys are enjoying the video thus far, feel free to smash that like button, subscribe. It really helps me out here in the YouTube algorithm, and it pushes me to make more videos because I know you guys love the content, and I'd love for it to be pushed out to a broader audience so more people could hop onto the channel and really learn more about the markets and, of course, technical analysis, because that is what I use heavily when I make my decisions in the short term. And I believe a lot of people, they're like, oh, you don't need technical analysis when it comes to long-term investing. But the truth is, I use it for that as well. I use it for both to really pinpoint my entry points. And that's kind of what I cover here all the time on the channel. Hence why we're running ThinkOrSwim in every single video, which is the charting software here that I use by TD Ameritrade. So let's talk about some stocks now that I'm looking at. Disney is number one, DIS, and this one's completely breaking out today. It went up 4.1%. We're moving above the moving averages. We broke above the high point from the past couple of months. Ever since the end of May, we've been struggling at about 180. So we clearly broke 180. We closed at 184.30. And now we're trending at levels that we haven't been at since March, April, early May of this year. And if you guys are in my Patreon, you know that I actually got into Disney at $180 and I believe 90 or 85 cents or something like that earlier today. And we caught this move beautifully. And we ended up actually I exited this after market hours at about $184.75. So I made a quick move today on Disney. About 2.2% is what I made on that move. And the reason why I sold right now pretty early, because initially I wanted to hold on to this for about a week or two, but the reason I sold out is because I believe in the very short term, Disney is overbought. I feel like the RSI is too hot. It's at 80 on the 4-hour chart. I think we're going to get a better entry point, whether it's 180, whether it's 178. I'm going to get back into Disney, and I just wanted to lock in the quick move today. And it was just a crazy freaking day for Disney stock because a lot of things, a lot of positive catalysts came out to actually move the stock. The biggest one was the fact that Disney Plus, the cost of this is going from $5.99 a month to $6.99. So that is what? A 15% increase in the monthly charge. And that's the beautiful thing about these streaming services. You guys remember when Netflix was like $5 a month? Well, now it's what, 20 a month or something like that? I don't even know. But they have pricing power. They could increase this price every single year, even if it's 50 cents to $1. That's the goal, because the average consumer out there, they could care less if it's $5.99 versus $6.99. They're still going to pay that. But the truth is, when it comes to Disney the business, $5.99 to $6.99, that's adding a crap ton of money to the top line and the bottom line, because they have so many people subscribe. So to the average consumer, like me, for example, I could care less if an extra $1 was being taken out of my credit card or my checking account every month for owning the service. But Disney, an extra $1 times however many consumers they have, or customers they have, 100 million, let's say, for example, that's an extra 100 million, or whatever the number is of customers they have for Disney Plus. So that's a very good sign. That was the main catalyst that moved the stock today, and I got kind of lucky. I'm not going to lie. I got in, I believe, before this news came out, and then boom, Disney just started going bananas. We also see Black Widow did very well. It rakes in 80 million at the domestic box office on debut weekend. It grosses nearly 40% of its total debut weekend revenue from Disney Plus. Okay, that's actually interesting. So I guess you could watch it on Disney Plus. Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And we also got news after hours, I believe, that ESPN Plus, they're also looking to increase that monthly and that annual subscription price. And I'm not sure what Disney or ESPN Plus is right now. I'm assuming it's $5, $6, $7 a month. So if they're increasing that, that's more revenue coming into Disney. So I'm very happy about that, both as a long-term investor of Disney, which, full disclosure, I'm long Disney, right? I've owned it for a while at this point. And as obviously a trader of Disney today, I was able to capitalize on that catalyst on a day trade. So I'm very happy about that. And just because I sold out of my trade today, guys, doesn't mean that I am short Disney or I'm just not looking to get back in. In fact, like I said, I'm looking to get back in. I just need to see a bit of a cool off and then a re-entry. And of course, I'll let you guys know if you're on my Patreon what I'm looking to do when it comes to Disney. And Virgin Galactic today ended up collapsing, right? And I don't think this would have happened if they didn't file to sell $500 million worth of common stock. So they're selling a bunch of stock here. They're flooding the market with new shares, which means me as a shareholder of Virgin Galactic, you, if you own it, you as a shareholder, you're getting diluted, I'm getting diluted, and the stock typically goes down when news like this comes out. And is it for an extended period of time? Is it going to be down indefinitely? Probably not. I mean, we're going to bounce back ultimately, but in the short term, this is a big hit on the stock. Hence why it was coasting at about, believe it or not, guys, it was at $60 earlier pre-market, and it was coasting down to about $50. So it did drop a good chunk from that $60 level to about $50, but it wasn't down from Friday's closing price. If you guys remember, it closed at about $49 on Friday. So once that news came out that they were looking to sell shares, it completely collapsed because, again, that dilutes current investors. And they have about 240 million shares outstanding, of which 164 million are available to the public for trading, meaning the float is 164 million shares. And based on Friday's closing price of $49.20, Virgin Galactic's $500 million offering would equate to about 10.2 million shares. So 164 share float, 164 million share float right now, and 10 million added shares to that. So it's not the end of the world. It's not like they're adding 40% additional shares. They're adding a little bit, 10 million shares to the total 240 million shares outstanding. But still, they're adding shares. They're diluting investors. And by the looks of it on the 4-hour chart, guys, this is looking, keyword is looking, it's not for sure official yet. We're looking to bounce off the 180 SMA at about $37 per share, and that's on the 4-hour chart here. So maybe now that we got the share news, the flight went well, maybe we consolidate a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily force a trade on this right now. I'd give it a couple of days for the dust to settle. But if we're able to hold, let's say, 37, 40, 42, maybe start climbing back up, there could be a move back to the 50s on this. But I'm being patient, and honestly, it's a pretty good move for the company to raise money like this because they burn a lot of money, so they got to raise money. So it makes sense. from a longer term perspective. But of course, short-term traders, which is why, again, I day traded this 3 times the past 2 weeks. I didn't swing trade it because I was being very careful. But people that were swing trading it, they had options on it. They probably got burnt today unless you had put options, but I doubt most of you guys did. I bet a lot of you had call options. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful and always have, risk management in place. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Virgin Galactic? Drop those down below. AMAT is another one. AMAT that I'm personally looking at right now. This is Applied Materials. It went up about 1.4% today. Pretty solid day, if you ask me. And by the looks of it, we're holding a higher low at $130 per share. The previous low is at about $130. Today we held about $131, $132. We held $119 a couple weeks ago, $112 before that. So overall, over the past pretty much 2 months, Applied Materials has been uptrending, making higher lows, all that good stuff. Today we broke above the 180 SMA. Now we're about to test the 50 SMA on the 4-hour chart. And I believe if we break that level at about 137.50, so I'm going to put my alert right there, I think we're going to fill the gap to that next main resistance, which is at about 144, more like 143 to 145, meaning from 137 to 145, there is about 4 to 5% upside on Applied Materials. So I like it in the short term, and if we end up filling the gap to 145, we might be squeezing out of there. This ascending triangle could play out, as you guys can see if I redraw this. Look at this. Again, we're uptrending, but overall we're seeing resistance at 145. If we squeeze out of there, boom, ascending triangle will play out. Very similar to what we saw with, what was the other chart we were looking at? QQQ in the beginning of this video. QQQ is also showing a bit of an ascending triangle on the shorter, in the shorter time frame here, 5-day, 5-minute. So watch out for that on AMAT, right? Honeywell is another one I'm looking at, HON. This is a big company out there. Very similar to Caterpillar, in the industrial sector industry. And we're noticing how Honeywell, the chart's looking pretty dang good. I mean, look, we're trading above the 50 and the 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart. Looks like we're maintaining the uptrending channel as well. And by the looks of it, now that we're above the moving averages, like I said, the next spot we can shoot up to is, if this pans out, guys, is about 240, 245. We might end up taking out the highs from beginning of June at about 234, which I believe it's got to be an all-time high. Let me double check. Of course it is, guys. Most stocks are at all-time highs now. So yeah, if we end up breaking this, more like 226 level, I'm going to put my alert there. I'm thinking really that Honeywell is going to fill that gap and see a nice continuation trend here to about 235, 240, maybe 245, although that would be pushing it. But overall, I'm watching it. There's about 6, 7, 8% upside on this one. NEO is another one that I'm looking at here, which went up almost 2% today. We're trading under the 50 SMA, but we're above the 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart here. So we're sandwiched in between those, and we closed above 46.50, which was that high from the middle of March. So that's a pretty good sign. Overall, this is it's in an iffy spot. Let me show you guys this. I'm also noticing a potential head and shoulders forming. It's too early to tell, but we got to be mindful of this. Let me show you. We have the left shoulder right here. We got the head right here, and the right shoulder could be here, although we don't obviously have the future candlesticks there because we're not in the future. But hear me out. If we don't break above the neckline here, which the neckline is at about $48, if we don't break out of there, we're going to maybe consolidate under 48 and then dump down lower 40s again to complete the head and shoulders. But on the flip side, if we fill the gap to 48 tomorrow, maybe some point this week, we break 48, and we fill the gap to 51.52, the head and shoulder is scrapped. It won't even matter because we're above the neckline. So the key spot here on NEO is the neckline at 48, and we're going to be watching that closely. So watch out for that when it comes to NEO. UNH is another one I'm looking at, United Health Group. This one is an inverse head and shoulder. We have the left shoulder here, the head right here, and the right shoulder's forming right now as we are seeing a move above both moving averages. Today, UNH went up about 1%. Pretty solid day, if you ask me. And by the looks of it, we have about $9 to $10 left when it comes to this inverse head and shoulder. So that gives us from $4.16 to about $4.25. That gives us a good $8, $9 per share. And that's about 2.5%. That gives us some decent upside there. And by the way, I just noticed this. UNH reports earnings on the 15th, so that's 3 days away from right now. And yeah, we're going to be watching that right shoulder completion. And the last one today is Goldman Sachs, which, mind you guys, these bank stocks, they're reporting tomorrow. One's Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan's tomorrow as well. So two big dogs are reporting. And by the looks of it today, Goldman Sachs ended up breaking out of the neckline of the head and shoulder. We're squeezing above 377. We closed above 380. And it looks like we're up in the after hours. We're at 381 after hours. So that's a pretty good sign here, and I think there's upside to about 390, 395 in the short term. That gives us about 3-4% more upside here on Goldman Sachs if it does end up filling the gap there, which I believe there's a possibility it does so, especially if those earnings come in hotter than expected, which could definitely happen. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video, got some value out of it. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, go down below, check out different videos I've made, hit that notification bell, and check out my Patreon. If you guys want all my real-time moves, buys, sells, call-outs, a morning update video, if you're a top-tier patron, all of that's on Patreon, link down below, or you guys can go to StockSurfest.com/Patreon. Make sure to also get your $50 from M1 Finance with a deposit of $100, and your 2 stocks from Webull with a deposit of $100 as well. Those are valued up to $1,600. And those are also linked right down below. I'll catch you all in the next video, which I made one earlier going over 3 oversold stocks I didn't mention in this video, so go check it out. I'll pop it up here. I'll link it down below as well. I'll see you guys there. Thanks for tuning in again. As always, keep crushing the markets. Stay safe out there, guys. Peace out.